Hi guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be yet another pop culture celebrity conspiracy theory video. I love doing these because these are so much fun, because I think celebrities are just, you know, funny to like talk conspiracy about, because they're kind of like this thing that like exists in our life that like I feel like you don't fully understand unless you are a celebrity, if that makes sense. Anyways, I asked you guys on Twitter what you guys wanted to see more often of, and a lot of you guys said celebrity conspiracy theories or just conspiracy theories in general. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, let me know what you want to see more of, because I feel like I never ask you guys for suggestions. I kind of just post what I feel like it, but I guess I should ask you guys, considering you are the ones watching. So let me know. So the first conspiracy theory that I want to talk about actually revolves around J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter. So I did talk about a J.K. Rowling conspiracy theory in my like childhood ruining ones, but this is like a completely different theory, and this is about the actual J.K. Rowling. So obviously we know J.K. Rowling as the British writer of the Harry Potter series, which is a 7-book series, 8 movies, and basically just an entire franchise. However, something I find pretty interesting is that a Norwegian filmmaker named Nina Grunfeld had something to say about J.K. Rowling. So a lot of the internet actually believes this conspiracy theory. Essentially, the theory comes from Nina Grunfeld, and she basically thinks that J.K. Rowling is just an actress, and that the entire Harry Potter series was a particularly well thought out plan and done by a highly trained like professional people, not just by one person who was writing books. So Nina said, quote, "Is it possible that a person can write 6 thick books that are translated into 55 languages and sell more than 250 million copies in less than 10 years? Is it probable that the stories then get filmed and commercially exploited to the degree seen here, without any well thought out strategy or highly professional players behind them?" End quote. So I don't know why she kept saying 6 books in the quote, because obviously there's 7 Harry Potter books. Either way, it's definitely highly probable in general for there to have been something like Harry Potter created by like giant companies, because Harry Potter is literally the biggest franchise in the world. People argue that Star Wars is bigger, but I'm going with Harry Potter. Like, I don't know statistically which one's bigger, but Harry Potter literally has 2 huge United States theme parks. Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure are pretty much Harry Potter oriented. Like, yes, there's other rides and stuff, and definitely like a lot of stuff, but there's like the whole Hogwarts Express and like Diagon Alley, and then like the entire freaking Hogsmeade and everything. And then Hollywood just like opened their Hogsmeade a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago. So that's 2 huge like theme parks like Universal that are having all this Harry Potter stuff. Not only that, but 7 books that made a shit ton of money, and 8 movies that made a real shit ton of money. And not for nothing, but Harry Potter is now a literal Broadway play. Like, it started out in London and now it's coming to New York City, and that's even crazier. Like, this franchise has been around for so long and has made so much freaking money. Like, it's actually insane. I would really say that I don't really believe this theory, because I just like to think that J.K. Rowling actually did write the Harry Potter series. Not that I would care either way how the books got there, because I just like the like series itself. Like, I don't care who wrote it or whatever. But also, I'd like to think that miracles can happen like that. Like, she was like a poor girl writing a story, and then the story became what it is today. And I don't know, I like to believe the story, but who knows the real truth? I guess J.K. Rowling, or the actor that plays her. So the next conspiracy theory we're going to talk about revolves around John Lennon from the Beatles. You guys have asked me so much to talk about this specific conspiracy theory because I've done a video previously on John Lennon. However, I didn't talk about this specific theory on his death. I'll link the video I did on John Lennon below, and the other video I did on the Beatles below. I think this theory is really interesting. I don't know why you guys have sent it to me so much, because I don't really find it that believable, but y'all apparently do. Basically, in 2009, a theory came out from a man named Steve Lightfoot, claims that Stephen King, the author, was actually the person who killed John Lennon. What we actually know and are taught, or I don't know if you're taught this in school, but like if you look up John Lennon was shot dead on December 8th of 1980 by Mark David Chapman in the archway of the Dakota, which was his apartment building in New York City overlooking Central Park. So we do know that Mark David Chapman actually like admitted to this. He claims that he wanted fame, so that is why he killed John Lennon. However, Steve Lightfoot is thoroughly convinced that it was actually Stephen King who killed John Lennon, or at least had something to do with it. Hours before John Lennon was shot, there's actually a picture of him signing a copy of his album where you can see a blurry-ish face in the background. This face was identified as Mark David Chapman, which is weird because obviously this is like hours before he got shot, so it's kind of weird that he was like around him at that time. Like, however, according to Lifa, he believes that this person in the picture is actually Stephen King. And I will say, if you do compare the two photos like side by side, they do look a lot alike. Like, Stephen King definitely did, at least in the 80s. I think he lost a lot of weight, looked like Mark David Chapman. The theory is basically that Stephen King was set up by Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan because they wanted John Lennon killed. Now, this theory, I think, makes sense besides the fact that it was Stephen King. Like, I think it just makes sense with Mark David Chapman being hired by the government to kill John Lennon, but I guess Stephen King is just also thrown into the mix. However, the reason it makes a lot of sense is because obviously Nixon and Reagan were both like pro-war. However, John Lennon used to like preach hardcore to the people who were listening, which was a lot of people. Basically the philosophy like peace over war. He was always one of the people that was influencing the youth a lot to be anti-war. Now, this definitely did bother the government. In fact, in 1971, when Richard Nixon was running for re-election, he actually tried to have John Lennon deported back to England. So it's clear that he did not want him in this country altogether, but he couldn't really get rid of him. Or maybe he did. Lightfoot thinks that, quote, Chapman is a paid patsy, a decoy, a King lookalike who is waiting at a police station while King, posing as Chapman, was murdering Lennon. Like I said, I don't necessarily think that John Lennon was killed by Stephen King or that he even had anything to do with it, but I do agree with the theory that the government set up Mark David Chapman. And for a second, like, while I was like thinking about this theory, I was like, okay, but who would like risk their lives for the government, like would do this just to like literally sit in jail for the rest of their lives? That makes no sense. Like, I would never do that. Like, you'd have to be crazy to want to do that. Again, I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, theoretically, if the government is truly behind this entire thing, then wouldn't they have some sort of strings to be pulled along with like county jails and like state jails or whatever? Wouldn't they be able to make Mark David Chapman act like he was going to jail, look like he was going to jail, do the whole trial, everything? But in reality, he was just being paid millions of dollars to kill John Lennon, and then he would be paid millions of dollars, get some like, probably some like facial reconstruction surgery, some like plastic surgery, which isn't that hard to do, and then continue living his life under a different name. I don't know. Is it that far off? Is it that impossible? I feel like probably not. And I actually kind of find it a little interesting, actually. And I actually find it a little bit interesting because it's just weird that Nixon like literally wanted John Lennon out of the country. I do think that John Lennon's message was still received widely across America because he had a lot of influence. The Beatles in general had a shit ton of influence at the time and still do. So I think that's why I always say that I think the Illuminati is government officials instead of like celebrities, because maybe celebrities really don't have that much say. And that's the tea. All right, the next conspiracy theories that we're going to be talking about revolve around the Kardashians. I've been watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, like binging it because I'd never watched it before. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to start season 1 because like apparently Kris Jenner always says funny shit. And that is the tease that she does. And like, they're so funny. Like, honestly, after watching the Kardashians, I don't understand how I ever thought that I hated them or didn't like them. Like, they're all iconic. Like, they're so funny. Like, I don't know. I love it. So a lot of conspiracy theories have been spiraling around the Calvin Klein's Our Family campaign for like the My Calvins whole thing, and it stirred up a lot of controversy because, first of all, Kylie Jenner hadn't announced her pregnancy yet because this came out in late January. So when people saw Kylie like in the blanket, they were like, oh my god, is she pregnant? Is she not? Like, obviously she was, because we do know now that Kylie had a baby. Also, the other side of Twitter was freaking out because these pictures literally do not look like Kim Kardashian, like at all. Like, who is that? I don't know her. Someone said on Twitter that it looks like an Instagram model pretending to be Kim Kardashian. Like, 100%. Like, agreed. I do think it's weird, but I also likely think it's probably Photoshop and just like the way the picture is edited and like the way she was posing. I do think that that is probably actually Kim Kardashian. However, it did get me thinking about celebrity doppelgangers and celebrity like lookalikes. It's no secret that there has been many celebrity lookalikes. For one, Kim Kardashian does have a lot of lookalikes. Kylie Jenner has a lot. I've seen Ed Sheeran. Like, there's so many celebrity lookalikes in general. And it makes you think, why wouldn't the celebrities use these lookalikes, these doppelgangers, to benefit themselves? So like, it kind of makes sense. They could literally hire these doppelgangers to do things that they don't feel like doing. Going to events, being in front of paparazzi, all that stuff. So this has actually been speculated before with Justin Bieber and Avril Lavigne, and I kind of thought it was bullshit at the time, but then I got to thinking, like, paparazzi pictures and like things that you should, like, I guess as a celebrity, like things that you have to be at, like things that you were like, oh, like I definitely need to be seen here, I need to make an appearance or whatever. And going through all that paparazzi, like when you just like leave your house or anything, like would get so annoying. Like, I can't even imagine being like a celebrity that gets paparazzi'd. Like, it would just be so annoying. So it kind of makes sense for them to want to have somebody to just like go for them and go to these certain little events. Like, I'm not saying anything major, like if like a celebrity's on Ellen, I don't think it's like a doppelganger, like it's probably the actual celebrity, but essentially maybe they hire someone to do things that they don't want to do. I think it makes a lot of sense, because low-key, if I looked like a celebrity, I would 100% be like a stand-in for them. Like, I wouldn't care. Like, yeah, pay me millions of dollars to just like look cute and shit. The last conspiracy theory we're gonna be talking about actually revolves around Blac Chyna, Tyga, Kylie, and Rob Kardashian. As we know, Chyna and Tyga actually started dating in 2011 and dated until 2014. And they have a son together as well. In 2014, Kylie and Tyga started hanging out more and whatever, and people speculated that they were dating, but they didn't officially announce they were dating until 2015 on Kylie's 18th birthday. So Blac Chyna began dating Rob Kardashian in January of 2016, and they had a daughter together named Dream Kardashian in November. Both couples actually split in 2017. So conspiracy theorists actually believe that Chyna and Tyga didn't want to break up, and that their plan was to fake a breakup in order to get closer to the Kardashians and start dating the Kardashians and being involved with their lives. So I don't know, dude. I kind of believe it, because obviously it's a pretty smart idea, because Chyna and Rob have this baby, Dream Kardashian, that's now biologically related to Chyna and Tyga's son. So that keeps them connected into the Kardashian family forever. Like, that's literally like blood, like connection, you know what I mean? So like I said, they'll always be associated with the Kardashian empire, and like it brings relevancy. Like, not that Blac Chyna and Tyga weren't relevant before this, because obviously they were before the Kardashians, but the Kardashians are probably the most famous people on this planet at the moment, which is I like it. I don't know, like, I would normally be like, that's scary, but like, I love them, so I don't know. But it is kind of weird how just like a random family that doesn't really do much besides have a reality show is like the #1 people in the world, like, that people are obsessed with and everyone knows, and they literally can't go anywhere without getting recognized and having millions of paparazzi, which would literally suck. So they clearly do have some relevancy. Basically, being associated with the Kardashians will keep your ass in the tabloids. The theory is that Chyna and Tyga will actually probably get back together because they never really wanted to break up. And this really does kind of make sense, because Tyga and Kylie met at Kendall Jenner's Sweet 16, which is kind of weird, considering Kylie was like 13. But they obviously already knew each other, so maybe they had this plan in a sense. They both came together and was like, okay, we'll date other people. I don't know. Jealousy is kind of a thing too that probably would get involved with that. But then again, some people are f***ed up. So what do you guys think? I kind of think it would make sense to break up so that they can involve themselves with the Kardashians and like get into the news. I don't know. It seems kind of crazy. But at the same time, I feel like Hollywood is pretty crazy, and you have to be kind of crazy to stay relevant and stay famous. So That's the tea. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Like I said, let me know what you guys think about these. Which one do you believe the most? But that is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram because I'm always posting really dope ass shit on there. Subscribe for new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll see you all on Friday. Bye!